What's poppin'? Welcome back. This video is going to be my re-review for the PS5 Edge Pro controller. In my last video review of this controller, I did say that I would review it again after I'd gotten to use it for a few months. I believe that last video was like 3 or so months ago. So if you haven't seen that, I'll leave a little card right here. Go check that out. Definitely watch that one first, and then come back to this one because I'm not going to just repeat the stuff I said in the last video. I feel like that'd be a little bit of a waste of time. So go check that one out. But if that first video satisfies everything you wanted to know about this controller, great. Have a nice day. If not, come back and check this one out. So let's hop into it. The overall opinion I have of this controller is phenomenal. It still is working out very well, and I still am of the opinion that you should go out and pick one of these up for yourselves. The $200 price tag on it is still very much worth it in my opinion, so go grab one. But there is a few things and problems that I found with this controller from my prolonged use of it, but they are not anything major, and we will get into those. But the first thing I want to talk about, and let me swap over to here and pop up the customization menu, and I'll hide my camera so you can see it better. But the customization menu of this controller only has 3 quick slot profiles. You cannot change the default profile, it is permanent. So you can only have 3 customized ones that you can switch between and the default one. However, you can keep as many unassigned profiles as you want in the unassigned profiles section. So if you played 18 different games and you wanted 18 different profiles, you can do that. And swapping them out is very, very easy. So let's say I wanted to swap out Battle with Maker. I'll just hit this button right here, switch it to Square, hit FN, go to Square, and I'm there. It doesn't take that long, and with how easy it is to swap between profiles, it's like you basically have access to all the profiles that you have on your controller. So if I want to swap it back, boom, to Square, and we're done. So, go ahead and pop back over here, get my notes up. The next thing that I want to talk about is the plugin for the controller. The controller has a battery life of 4 to 6 hours, but I don't really have a foolproof test of mine because I have just left it plugged in the whole time, and that has been working out great. So when you get the controller, it will come with this charging cable, and the charging cable has some pretty good length to it. So if you are using your PS5 to charge it, you can leave it plugged in and sit pretty far away, or if you have a wall outlet, it does have good length to it. The other thing that it will come with is this little black box here, and this is the lock to keep it into the controller if that's how you want to play with it plugged in the entire time. And this thing is great. The design of it was very well thought out. You just take your USB-C side of your charging cable, it slots in there very easily, you close it up, and then you just push up on the lock, and it pops out 2 little prongs, and that's what keeps it locked into the controller. Now, because I've had this locked into my controller the entire time I've used it, I do want to say that I have not had any problems with it popping out, or saying that it wasn't charging, or it's saying that it became disconnected. It is a very sturdy lock, and I've bumped it on a few things a few times, and it hasn't had any issues with it breaking or sounding like it's cracking. The first time, however, when I went to plug it in, it didn't say it was charging right away, but I just unplugged it and plugged it back in, and then it said it was charging, and then I locked it. And after I did it, it's never said that it hasn't been charging, and it's been working as it's intended. And I do want to show this as well. They have this little kind of downward bridge at the end of it where the cord comes out, so it sort of sits at this angle instead of sitting on a square edge, which does cause the charger cable to wear and tear quicker on that specific spot. But because they included this, it does sit comfortably on there, and it will prolong the life of your charger cable. The one problem that I've found as I've used this controller over time, and it might be specific to me, but I tend to be a clean person, not a clean freak by any means, but I do like to keep my controllers and my technology fairly clean when I use them. Now, when I start using my controller every single day, I will go and wash my hands, and then after 2 or 3 hours of use, I will wash my hands again if they feel like they're getting grimy. but I will build up grime on this controller like there's no tomorrow. And part of that has to do with these textured grips. Let me see if I can get that locked in there. Come on, camera. Do me a solid. Focus on it. Oh, it's not really working. But there's these rubber grips on the inside that are textured right here, and then they added some textured grips to the end of the triggers. You can sort of see it there. The camera's doing me absolutely dirty right now. Come on. You know you want to. What if I just go like this? Force it. Anyways, that texture right there, it does keep a lot of grime and dirt built up in there, and it's kind of difficult to clean it out. Now, I've found that if I just scrape my fingernail on the rubber parts of the controller, it cleans it very well. And then I'll take a needle and I'll just kind of run the needle back and forth on the textured part of the triggers, and that loosens up all the grime and dirt in there. Let me see if you can see that. So it kind of loosens it up right there. The camera is again doing me dirty. Oh well, there we go. And then I'll just wipe that away with a cloth, and that tends to work pretty well. There's probably better products and cleaning supplies out there for cleaning your controller, but that's just what I do, and that works fine. If you are wanting to do that, I would suggest go looking up a different video for the best cleaning products for this controller, but that's just what I do in the meantime, and it's very nice, and it does get me through it. And that is the only like major gripe I've had with this controller so far. Everything else has been working out great. So that is the overall view portion of this video, where I'm talking specifically about the controller. I'm now going to hop in to D2, because that's what this review was specifically for, was this controller's using it inside of Destiny 2. So let me hop into a private match here. Now, in my last video, let me pop back over to this customization screen, I was suggesting that you use the digital sensitivity curve and crank up the curve adjustment to 100 on the movement stick. And I'll turn on my camera right here. And I'm going to rescind that statement from my last video, as I have some issues that I've had with it. Now, when you do use it, you sort of get this hybrid analog / PC movement, where the moment you put any directional input on your movement stick, it's at 100. So now that I'm in game here, if I just do a slight movement, I'm at 100. Back the other way, at 100. Back, any 100, forward, at 100. So any slight movement on the stick, it goes from 0 to 100. And that's nice. And what you get out of that is when you're strafing, your strafes are just a tiny bit faster, and they're a lot more crispy. But as I've used it over time for Destiny 2 specifically, I've come to not like it. And I'm going to show you why I don't like it. So I'm on Endless Vale right now, which is the Trials map for this weekend. And this is a highly contested area. And one thing I like to do is I like to use this little jump up right here, right next to this little pylon. And I use it to kind of peek mid and have cover. And when you strafe in and out with 0 to 100, it's very nice and very quick. But when you're trying to just hold this angle and set up like maybe a snipe or something, and you're trying to like get it lined up in this angle, it can be kind of difficult to get where your Guardian is set exactly where you want it. Now, PC players don't really have this problem because they can just tap the key until they get, right where they want it, and then they just stand still and use the aim from there. But on controller, because I have this hybrid, the disadvantage you have is that it's kind of hard to get these finite adjustments that you want for, holding an angle or a snipe, or trying to, get up to a corner and then set yourself up right on the corner. You might be peeking out a little far or close. And that has started to annoy me over time, so I've gone back to the default profile. Now, another thing that has bugged me is I like to jump up on small little boxes and objects to try to catch people off guard, like this, for example. And one thing that I do, and that has happened to me a bunch, and it's happened to me 100 times while using this sort of hybrid movement, is I'll jump up on the box, and then I'll unconsciously like hit back for a second, and because you're going from 0 to 100, you'll just fall right back off of the box. And sometimes, in some cases, I'll jump up and accidentally hit forward, and because it's 0 to 100, I'll fall off the front, and that'll get me killed. So that is some of the disadvantages of using that hybrid PC analog movement, that 0 to 100. So I've gone back to using the default sensitivity curve, because I I find that in this game having a level of precision with your movement does help a lot. And me as a player, I do use my movement as a way to help me aim, and you might do that. I know that I do that, but I find that that 0 to 100 makes your aim a lot more bouncy, and in some cases it can make you miss your shot and make it harder to track a certain spot, especially if you're just trying to like hold an angle, or if you're just trying to set up like a quick peek. It does mess with it sometimes, so I've gone back to the default, and it especially helps when I jump up on these small boxes and things, because I can hit the analog stick a little bit with these slight inputs, and I don't have to worry about falling off. Whereas before, if I even touch this backwards, I'd be off the box right away. So if you are using that and you find that happening to you a lot with this controller, if you specifically are using it for that, I would suggest going back to the default. I promise you, you'll probably enjoy it more. But hey, if you like using it like that and you really are enjoying it, it's your controller, it's your game. Do what you want with it. Now, I do want to say that in games like Overwatch 2, I still use that 0 to 100 hybrid movement, because in that game, you're not really trying to like hold angles as much, and it works a lot better in there because it's very fast paced with how it plays. So it works a lot better in that game, and if you have other games where you tried it out and it works a lot better, keep it. But for Destiny specifically, I would suggest going against what I said in my past video, as it does mess with my aim and it messes with my movement and how I play the game. I do believe that's all I have to say for this video. Let me check. Yep, I'm going to pop back over to full screen real quick. So overall, again, controller's still great, still performing very, very well. Highly suggest you go get one, try it out. I really think that you'll very much enjoy this controller. Now, if you have been using this controller and you've had some problems or issues that you've had with it, go ahead and comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I do tend to read most of the comments on my videos because, I don't know, got nothing better to do. But that is all from me for now. If you enjoyed the video, great. If not, and you're still here, great as well. That means you watched it. But anyways, that's all. Thanks for watching. See ya.